Revelation chapter 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Revelation chapter 13 is another big one. Revelation chapter 12 gets talked about a lot these days, and in my last video I mentioned that I'm not certain that what happens in Revelation 12 is exactly what people talk about, the signs in the heavens in 2017, but I don't know, maybe it is. But I think that maybe what connects in people's minds, like, oh, the Revelation 12 sign and also the end, is that Revelation 13, this next chapter, is talking about one of the most necessary conditions that have to happen before the end. And so I guess I see why people are expecting Revelation 12 signs, but I mean, you can go watch the video that I previously did. I feel like it's possible that Revelation 12 signs could have happened a long time ago, but maybe they came up again in the heavens just recently, just to reinforce it or something. I don't know. However, Revelation 13, and the descriptions are really strange and unusual, so it's probably a metaphor for something, right? Like, is there going to be like a 7-headed dragon that comes out of the ocean somewhere? Probably not, I don't think. But I guess it's possible. Anything's possible. There's some theories out there. I mean, one in particular that I know of, not that I support it 100%, but maybe you've heard theories of stuff happening in Seattle, a beast coming out of, and that would kind of go along with how it says the beast coming out of the sea, Seattle, and maybe they might bring Elvis back from the dead. I don't know. It's an interesting idea, but who knows? I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if that theory if that person's theory ended up happening, I wouldn't even be like surprised at this point if they really did try to bring Elvis back and stuff. That's just how up in the air it feels at this point. Like who knows what is in their playbook. And there's certain ways that they've painted themselves into the corner, but a lot of this stuff I feel like nobody really knows. I mean, maybe a few people, but the beast like unto a leopard with bare feet and a lion mouth, you know, stuff like this. It's like these probably represent things, I would imagine. Like the beast is like a leopard, maybe represents like their agility or something. The bare feet, maybe they have a strong footing. A lion mouth, they got scary, they say scary stuff. I don't know, but I'm just saying that I don't think that the beast looks like a chimera necessarily. This could be an event of sorts. It could be, I don't know. There's all sorts of options, I think. And there's the deadly head wound, and then one of the wounds is healed. There's a lot going on here that's very complicated. Like, so one thing that I want to mention, how are there 7 heads, but then there's 10 horns? How does that work? Does each head have 1 horn, but then certain heads have multiple horns? Are the horns other places? What's going on there? And I also have here, I better say it before I forget, it says that the heads have the name of blasphemy written on it. And just to skip to the very end of this chapter, it's also interesting because the whole 666 thing gets brought up a lot, and it's something that people, you know, 666, it's known as like a spooky thing, but that's like the end of it. And people don't normally talk about how it says that the number is the number of a man. And that could very much be related to gematria, because that, I mean, the whole Hebrew system does have gematria like built into it. This goes way back. Gematria is not like a new thing. So turning somebody's name into numbers and adding them up can be it's a very old idea. So it could mean that. I don't know exactly what it means that the name of or the number of a man is 666, but I believe it'll come up. I mean, when you wake up, you'll clearly see how often 666 ideas. I mean, this event that we just had, the thing, that's the whole idea behind 6 feet. The whole 6 feet between everybody is for repeated 6 ideas. 6 feet between everybody. Anyways, things seem complicated. So people are going to worship the dragon and the beast. There's various power plays going on, certain beasts giving power to other beasts, and you could draw whole diagrams for this thing. I'm not going that in depth into it. And the 42 comes up again in this. So I guess I could see why these things might be connected. The Revelation 12 signs, because there's mention of the whole 42 months or 3.5 years. I don't know. But things repeat. That's another thing too. Things repeat themselves over and over. And right, there's nothing new under the sun. So it's very possible that timelines or prophecy dates equal the same thing in multiple different areas. Could have been 42 months in the past, and it's going to be 42 months in the future too. Now, verse 7, Revelation chapter 13, verse 7 reminds me of the NWO. Over all kindreds and tongues and nations. That just reminds me of the NWO, and that's basically what we already have. However, at some point in time in the future, I do personally believe that there will become some sort of unified world government. I mean, some people, you'll hear people talk about how like the UN and stuff like that is already, you know, this stuff has been going on for a long time. You'll always hear people talk about how, oh, back in the day, they said that barcodes were the mark of the beast. You know, people have been paying attention for a long time. It's just that now you can tell it's on a totally different level. You can clearly buy and sell goods without barcodes being involved. But we really did just face an earth-wide thing where even in third world countries and poor places, it doesn't matter where, it's almost like the more poor you were, the worse the conditions were. And you weren't able to buy or sell basically anywhere on earth unless you did what they told you to do. And that's not how barcodes are at all, right? So it's just one of those things where people come out of the woodworks and are like, oh, people have been claiming that the end is here for ages and ages and ages. And it's like, well, yeah, they were just jumping the gun. I don't see any problem with always being on the lookout. It's just that people use that as an argument against the signs that are here today. But in my opinion, the signs that are here today are undeniable and magnitudes greater than anything. You know, it's almost like those barcode people are patsies. They're controlled opposition. It's not like a real, genuine Christian that's like legitimately thinking that the barcodes are or the mark of the beast. It's some baffo. Just that's the kind of stuff that they do to paint the opposition as dumb. Because I'll just say this, I'm a strong believer that nobody should be naming dates for anything. Because the Bible says that no man knows the day. Not even the angels in heaven know the day of the end. So anybody who has ever said, oh, the end of the world is on this day, they're a phony. Because the Word of God tells us that not even the angels in heaven know when the end is. So how could some phony on earth magically know that day? Revelation chapter 13, verse 8 reminds me of predestination and determinism. And God is that great that he can give us free will, but it is finished. It's already been finished from the beginning. And we were chosen out of the world. I mean, we're not even from the world. God knew who his children were from before the world. And anyways, so this comes from, the reason I say that is because the part where it says, all on earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life, in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. And yeah, I think that this supports determinism, that God has always known who his children are. Even with free will being a thing. I mean, God is timeless, outside of time, so I think that he's always known how everything is going to work out from the beginning. I mean, just the part of that verse that mentions that the Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world is a very interesting verse. Verse 10, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And it's interesting that Jesus doesn't, I mean, sometimes Jesus does get brought up as a big pacifist, turning the other cheek. But it just seems like generally people think of like Buddhism and that kind of thing as being the most pacifist. But the Bible has so many instances that says that vengeance is God's. It's not up to us to pick up the sword and do any of that. God is going to bring justice and righteousness, and it's not up to us to pick up the sword. And yeah, I'm a strong believer in thou shalt not kill and all that stuff. And it is weird how a lot of Christianity stuff gets portrayed as, oh, supporting violence, supporting guns and stuff. And I mean, people will come out and have arguments about, oh, well, what if somebody comes and starts trying to kill your family? Like, okay, I don't live my life based off of what ifs. And I have faith in God that he's going to take care of me and not put me in situations like that. And sure, I guess it's a possibility, but I really don't see that happening. And I'm not afraid of that. And that it really does seem like it comes from fear, but also just like a weird machismo thing. They think that that's like a cool thing to be like, I would kill anybody who tried to, you just know that attitude where people are like, somebody tried to touch my car like that, I'd shoot them. And but that attitude somehow gets aligned with being Christian, which I clearly don't find any connection between that. I think the Bible supports pacifism. Continuing on in this chapter, there's a second beast out of the earth. And see, this is one of those causation things. Like the second beast comes out of the earth, which I guess is kind of in contrast to the first beast comes out of the sea, and the second beast causes the head with the deadly wound to be worshipped. I don't know. Do you guys have guesses? There's guesses out there. I mean, I already mentioned somebody. I don't support this person's work. I mean, you should always take anybody's work with a grain of salt, but I think interesting ideas are interesting. And I think it is possible that Donald Trump could be a target for a head wound, but then coming back from the head wound. I think that's possible. Maybe Obama, too, could be in this situation. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that talk about Obama being the Antichrist and stuff like that. I do think that's possible. I really think that there are so many possibilities now at this point. And just the political climate that's going on is set for anything. Like, they really could do anything. Tomorrow, they could say that the aliens are coming down, and they could establish a one-world government, and I don't think anybody would bat an eye at something like that. And speaking of NASA bullshit, so in this chapter it mentions that the second beast can bring fire from heaven. And I think that this might be tied in with NASA stuff. So my interpretation of this is there's going to be somebody involved with claiming that asteroids are coming to Earth, meteors, whatever the heck you want to call these things. And that's what the whole fire from heaven is. They really will be able to make fire fall from heaven, and they're going to be saying that I mean, how many times have you guys seen in the news recently talking about asteroids coming near Earth? It's been incessant over the past year. They are planning something with, I guarantee that there's going to be some more asteroid themed psyops in the future. I mean, they're claiming to take the ISS down, which makes no sense. Like, something so complicated that apparently is working so amazingly for so long and is so great. People bring gorilla suits up there, and yet they're going to bring it down. There's just so much programming going on these days with things coming down from the heavens, lighting on fire. And that's right here in this chapter. And making people are going to be told to make an image to the beast. That could be some sort of social media sensation of making people join in on the effort. I mean, the whole current event thing that we recently did, it's going to be a cause that they want everybody to be a part of, and anybody who's not a part of it is going to be shunned, won't be able to buy or sell goods, and literally will be seeked out and killed in many cases, I think. So it's going to get serious. And I think that's part of a big part of this recent current event that will not die. How many years has it been going on? People are still talking about it. I still see so many people that mask up because the news is telling people to be scared. Oh man, these people are going to be insane when the next round comes, because anything bad from this, they're going to blame on the people that didn't go along and do everything. So that's what I think just when I read this, and I know what today is like, and I really do think that we're in the end today. It's going to be based around something like this event that we just happened. Probably going to be involved with aliens and unifying the whole world to get together. And they're going to say, we can't allow any of those people who got in the way and ruined it like that last one. Okay, well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. God bless everyone.